I have been writing for as long as I could read. I've always loved the idea of telling stories. And in second grade, I was really into spies. I thought I was going to be a spy, actually. And I wrote all of these short stories. It was a whole chapter book, actually, about all of my friends and me becoming spies. And during reading time, my teacher let me read some of the chapters. I wrote it all in this little yellow spiral notebook. And so I've just been writing forever. And then when I was going to high school, it was a specialized performing arts and performing arts school. And I had so many hobbies at that point. I was trying to figure out going into my freshman year if I wanted to be in the writing program, the art program, or the theater program. I loved all of them, and I was actually really leaning toward the theater program. And the day before I had to submit my application stating which program I'd like to apply for, I went to my desk and my mom had put my second grade yellow spiral notebook there because she really wanted me to go the writing route. And I remember looking through all of the chapters, and they were terrible, written by a second grader, but that passion has always been there. I think that interest in words and what they can do and how you could tell stories has been everything to me forever. So I continued with writing. I knew my freshman year and everyone was like, don't worry, like a lot of people change, but I knew going in that I really wanted to do English and writing, and that was the thing that I was best at. So I was like, I'll follow passion, even though my parents were like, hey, how about engineering or math or something, money? And I was like, ooh, but writing. I worked for a couple summers for the Young Writers Cherry Tree Conference as a counselor. And I actually also attended as a camper before I went to the college. So I've been ingrained in Washington for so many years at this point. I loved it. I remember going to it was a college fair, and I'd go up to all of these tables, and all of these people would throw pamphlets at me and be like, oh, we've got an English program. We like reading and writing, and none of these colleges were really sticking. And then I went up to the Washington College one. I think I was a sophomore in high school. And I believe her name was Haley or Allie, something Lee. And she was so kind. She was so personable and genuinely listened to my interests and what I wanted. And she did also throw a pamphlet at me, but very kindly. And she talked about the writing program and the Lit House. And I was so interested. And my mom asked if I wanted to take a trip to visit the campus. And we went, and it was the middle of spring. And we got there, and there was all of this ivy on the walls, and there was moss everywhere and towering trees, and the cherry blossoms were in bloom, and I had to go there. I knew immediately that was the college that I needed to go to. So Professor Elizabeth O'Connor became my best friend. She's my favorite person at that entire college. I think she's wonderful. Um, she was so supportive. She was so kind. She was my advisor too, just for classes and things. And I took as many of her classes as I could. I loved her teaching style. She was just excellent and so engaging. But for environmental writing specifically, which is what I really delved into for my thesis and also my Sophie Kerr portfolio, was definitely Sean Meehan. He introduced me to one of my favorite authors, environmentalists, Annie Dillard. And I don't think I'd had really any other experience with environmental writing prior to his class. And so I worked really closely with him. He was my advisor for my thesis and a huge inspiration for my Sophie Kerr writing too. I feel a little bit like an imposter. All of the people that I was writing with are insane. They are incredible writers. And I've worked alongside them for 4 years. I've seen them grow, and I've seen the things that they become interested in. And I've seen them change as people and writers and get better and more astonishing. And they write for the newspapers, and they've written books. And I'm just surrounded by all these incredible people. And then I was the one that got announced, and it's bittersweet because I hate the idea of taking that from somebody else, but
Yeah, you got it.
but I got it. Yeah, it is very early in the works, but I think I am a writer because I've had the opportunities to be one. I think a lot of my writing stems from my personal experience, obviously not creative nonfiction. A lot of my writing stems from personal experiences, and especially with nature. And the only reason that I've been able to write the way that I can about my observations is because I've had the experience within nature. I've been offered, I've been on hikes and just I don't know, just been around the natural world, and I have no idea what kind of writer, or if I'd even be a writer at all, if I hadn't had those opportunities. And I think if I could somehow offer those same opportunities to people, like young writers, I think that would be everything. I think that that would be really meaningful. Giving people the same kind of leeway to be involved in the environment and be inspired by trees and rivers and nature. I think that I could help create a wave of environmental writers. And I think that that's necessary and important and very real.